Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce to you Bill White, candidate for governor of the great state of Texas.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be before an American Legion state convention in the greatest state in the greatest country in the world. You know, I accepted this quite a while back because, for reasons I'll mention a little later, American Legion conventions have been part of my heritage. I attended dozens and dozens when I was a young man at the request of the American Legion to speak to people about our country's ideals and the fact that we should stand up for the men and women in uniform even when the war was unpopular. So I know Legion conventions and I respect Legionnaires. Somebody told me back, they said, well, you know, there could be bad weather in Beaumont and you're scheduled just in a few hours from now to give, well, somebody said, the biggest speech of my life to 10,000 people. We might need to reschedule or send a video clip. And I said, hey, the American Legion convention, I'm going to be there. I keep my word. If I have to spend the night in Beaumont, so be it. It's good to be with you. The Legion is dear to me. You heard in the introduction that my dad, disabled vet, some German 88 got his platoon pretty good halfway between Omaha Beach where he landed in the Rhine. My Uncle Harvey was the head of the American Legion post that put me up for the National Oratorical Contest when I was a young man. My Uncle Fred was a Navy veteran and a leader within his post. My grandfather, Al Dean, served in 2 wars and discharged at Fort Sam Houston with a disability. My nephew, Thomas, just got back 2 years ago from doing 2 tours in Iraq. And of course, I have great pride that my youngest son is in training right now so he can rehab a knee from a bad injury because he aspires to serve in our country's military when he leaves college. We come from a military family. I honor the American Legion, and there should never be such a thing as a forgotten war or a forgotten veteran in the state of Texas. When I had an opportunity and I took the office of mayor, I didn't wait till the American Legion to come to me. I reached out to those in the American Legion and many other veterans organizations and veterans that were coming back that weren't affiliated with any organization but had been affiliated with this country's military. And they were coming back and sometimes you could not see the wounds on their bodies, although often you could. And we set our goal that we were going to make our city the best place in the United States for returning veterans. And just like we did after Katrina, the only other time that I did that, we gathered all the civic leadership, the leaders of the faith-based organizations, the major corporations, the elected officials, and others in a big room, the same one we used as a command center during Katrina and Rita and Hurricane Ike. And we gathered them in that room and listened to the stories of some of our returning veterans. Stories that will sound familiar for those who served in prior conflicts of coming back. And the first day, they were heroes. But weeks later, they found that they were dealing with a bureaucracy that was difficult, that their military records, there was one young man who talked to us who had gone through dozens of procedures at Walter Reed, and he had to start all over with the VA to build his medical records. And we said that's unacceptable. And for that reason, I appointed a director of military affairs in a veterans office in the mayor's office for the first time, a direct report to me. And it was staffed and hired by veterans, combat veterans, who knew and could use the problem. And I commit to you that if I'm governor, there will be an office of veterans reporting directly to me, staffed by veterans, who will make sure that we cut through the red tape and we make sure that there's no such thing as a forgotten veteran, just as there never should be such a thing as a forgotten war in the state of Texas. We want Texas to be the best place in the United States for our returning